everybody, welcome back to another Croydon video. Today we'll be ranking every single Croydon route from worst to best. Now before we get into this, I'm just going to give you a quick one by how this video is going to work. So first of all, there were actually way more routes than I originally thought there were in this game. There's 25 routes to rank. And how this is going to work is we're going to start off from the worst, obviously. And I'm not going to dive too deep into each route until we get further towards my favourite. So like the first half of these routes I'll just be going through, maybe give a comment or two. But as we get to like the second half to the routes I'm more fond of, I will give more of a deeper explanation as to why I like it and the details of that route. And also in terms of gameplay and all of the stuff I'm doing in the background, again, a bit similar. Towards the start I'll just show you the routes on the list here, and then towards the end I might drive some to show you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first route that we're going to do of the 25 routes, ranking all the routes from worst to best. The worst route in my opinion is the 194, which is Shirley to West Croydon or West Croydon to Shirley. Now I was a bit confused when it first got released in 1.3.1. I thought it was going to be a brand new route that maybe went a different way, but all it is just half of the 198. It's literally the 198, but you start at West Croydon, which I'm pretty sure you can do if you go to West Croydon, you can literally choose to start the 198 from West Croydon. So what's the point in the 194? Now it might get extended, or it might get extended in another update, or the 198 might get extended, which makes these routes different. But for now, this route's rubbish, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stay at the worst route until something happens. But if anything happens like that in another update, then it might go up on the list. Okay, the next route is the 405. I always forget this route exists. It's just so forgettable, and it's so short. Like, it's like 4 stops long. It's just South Croydon Southend to the town centre. It's like 4 stops long. It's not very memorable. I always forget it exists. That's all I have to say about that one. And it is pretty much the same story for the 412, which is even shorter than the 405. It's like 3 stops, this one. Pretty much the exact same reason as the 405. I forget this thing exists. Next up is the 166 and also the 407, which both happen to be the exact same route. Why? Like, why? I get it, maybe one of them's going to be extended, but what was the point in adding them both into 1.3? Oh my days, I can't speak. 1.3.1. What was the point in adding them both in? Why could you have not just added like the 166 and then added the 407 in another update? I don't get it. They're both identical, and as a route they're not even that good. It's just South Croydon Bus Garage to West Croydon, which is pretty similar to what's that one? 403, or maybe even the 4. Well, yeah, it's the exact same as 407. So there's no point in there being the 166 and the 407. But as just a route, it's not my favourite route either. So let's go on to the next one, which is the 367. Again, this is a route that I just forget exists. Like, I always forget that 367 exists. I just find it quite boring as well. I used to find the 312 boring until that got extended to South Croydon, but the 367 stayed the same, and I just find it really boring. There's nothing else to say about that one. And sticking to the theme of boring routes, this might anger a couple of people, but I've put the 109. I just found this route very boring. You start at Thornton Heath Pond, you just go straight up London Road into the town centre. That's it. I mean, you just going up London Road. It just stops up London Road and then in the town centre. There's nothing interesting about that route in my opinion. And it's sort of routes that just go up London Road from Thornton Heath Pond the whole way that I find boring, which now you'll understand why I put the next 2 routes on here, which is the 64 and the 60. they both start at Thornton Heath Pond and they go up London Road, and granted they're a spot above the 109 because they do go further than just the town centre, which bumps them up a bit. And even the 60s, probably the 60 I have put over the 64 because it goes to South Croydon. But again, these routes, they just go up London Road, and I find the routes that go up London Road very boring because it's just a long straight stretch of road and there's nothing really interesting about it. Okay, next up, we're almost halfway there already. This is going faster than I expected, but it might slow down as I go deeper into some of these routes. Next up is the 403. I know a lot of you are probably wondering why I put this so high compared to the rest of these similar routes. That's because the 403 is actually interesting. Yes, it's short, but instead of just going the same way the 405, the 407, the 412 and all that does, it goes up a more of a side road and then comes out a different way out of South Croydon, which I find quite interesting. That's why I like this route so much. Also, it gets some flood action in sim servers from time to time. So I quite like the 403, and who knows, it might even get extended. Okay, so just about halfway through this list now, we have the 433, which is one of the shortest routes in the game. But again, this also gets flood action in sim servers. I quite like it. It's basically half of the 64, but like I said earlier, you're just cutting out the London Road bit, which I don't really like, I find boring. So the 433 is actually quite good. And it'll be one of the first full routes to come out in the Addington update. So the 433, when that comes out, might be one of my favourite routes. Who knows? 466 is after that. I used to just really hate the 466. The 466 used to be like my least favourite route because I believe it used to just go from town centre to Shirley, which was just really boring. But now it's been extended to South Croydon and it's so much better. It's so much more interesting. Well, that's all I have to say about that one. Now, a route that I was never too keen on before, but for some reason it's sort of grown on me, is the 157. For no reason, it's just grown on me, and that's all I have to say about the 157. After that is the 75. Now, the 75 is quite interesting. It's similar to the 157. The 157 starts at West Croydon, but the 75 starts at Fairfield Halls and loops round. And recently, well, not so recently, instead of just going straight past West Croydon, you actually go into West Croydon and back out, which adds a bit more interest to the route. Again, that's actually bumped it up a couple of spaces just because of that small little update. So the 75, pretty good, don't mind it. It's similar to the 157, that's why I put them next to each other, but I quite like the 75. Next up we have the 119, one of my favourite routes that came in the new update, mainly because it's interesting. It's similar to the 466, in fact it's almost identical, except it stops at South Croydon South End and then it goes up that hill at South Croydon and then comes back down. If you play Croydon a lot, you'll know what I mean by that. Okay, next up we have the 50, which is Thornton Heath to Croydon Town Centre, Fairfield Halls. So it follows the 75 for a bit, and then it leaves the 75 and goes straight on, and it takes you all the way up to Thornton Heath Pond past the High Street. It's identical to the 468, except it goes like an extra couple of stops. So that's why I've put after the 50 the 468. Now you may be wondering, oh, well, why have you put the 468 over the 50 if it's shorter? I don't know. Oh yeah, maybe because it actually got extended to South Croydon. Now, pretty much every route that got extended to South Croydon, I now like so much better. Like, it's just, the 468 used to be boring, and it used to be like below the 50, but now it's above the 50 because of the South Croydon extension. And yeah, that's about it for the 468 really. Okay, Next up we have the 250. Okay, so I used to be not very fond of this route at all. Again, it was just really forgettable, and I'm not too sure why. Hold on, I'm not really sure why I've done that. I've messed up the momentum I was gaining here. Come on. Right. So 250. So the 250 goes from Thornton Heath to Town Centre, Fairfield Halls. So yeah, it does go up London Road, but it also comes from Thornton Heath Parchmore Road, which is interesting. Nothing really else to say about this one. I'm trying to keep the momentum moving quickly because we're already 10 minutes in. I know this might be a bit boring just hearing me yapping, but hopefully you guys agree with this. Next up is the 198. I know, literally so much higher than its half, whatever this is, the 194. But again, it goes up London Road, sort of going against what I said about the 109 and all of that. But that's because it has so much more than just London Road. It starts at the High Street, goes all the way down past Thornton Heath Parchmore Road, all the way up London Road, through the town centre, and all the way up to Shirley. That's interesting, and it gets you a lot of points if you're looking to grind. Okay, so moving on to number 6 in my favourite routes. I know a lot of people don't seem too fond of this route, and a lot of people forget about it, but I really like it, and it's the 264. It's the only main route in the game that goes to Mitcham Common, and it's, I don't know, I used to see it anyways, the 455's competitor, but now the 455 with the South Croydon extension is so much better. But I do really like the 264, for almost no reason. Probably because it goes up some roads that no other main route in the game goes up, so it's different, I guess. Next up is the, number 5 is the 312, which goes South Croydon to Addiscombe. I used to dislike this as much as the 367, but obviously because of the South Croydon extension, I really like it. That's all I have to say. Let's move on to the top 4, and this is where I'll actually start driving and showing you some routes while I'm explaining. So, I gave it away, but whatever. Number 4 is the 450. Now, I know a lot of people dislike the 450 for some reason, and that's mainly because people flood it all the time. And it's annoying, I get it, people flood it a lot, and it's annoying when people flood it, but it's also very unique, and that's why people flood it. It goes up all the tiny back streets, and that's what makes it unique. You know, you've got to be a pretty skilled driver to actually manoeuvre your way around all these back streets and all these parked cars and islands in the middle of the road. So it does test your driving skills. If you want to become a better driver in Croydon, then I do suggest you drive the 450, because it would improve your driving skills a lot because of the tight back roads. But I'm one of the people who thinks 450 floods are actually very fun as well. Like, I love a good 450 flood. So that's 450. Let's get on to number 3. We're in the top 3 now. Okay, so out of all the long routes in the game, this one is probably people's least favourite, but I really like it, and that is the 289. Now, the 289, I know a lot of people don't like it because well, hold on, let me rephrase that. People like it, but like, out of the other like long routes like the 264, the 455, the 198, people overlook those and they forget about the 289, but it's one of my favourites out of all those routes, just because it's nice, isn't it? It's one of the only routes that finishes at Wadden Marsh, and it goes along some roads that no other main route goes. But that's all about the 289. Let's move on to the number 2, which I know a lot of people would disagree with, but ever since the extension of this route, I've been very fond of this route, and that is the 130. I know, yell at me if you want, but I really like the 130. I used to like it quite a bit before the extension, but now I really like it. And I have no clue why. Probably because of the extension. But, you know. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys all saw this coming in, especially if you've seen all my past videos. But number one on my most favourite route in Croydon is the 455. I mean, this is just one of the... It's perfect. It's pretty much perfect. It's really good, and it's very long as well. So again, if you want to grind for points, I highly recommend this route, and it goes right through the town centre as well. So it starts at South Croydon, right here, and you think, oh, maybe it just goes the same way as literally every other route out of South Croydon goes. No, instead it goes into South Croydon station. Instead of coming out this road opposite me here, it goes down the back road and it comes out of South Croydon that way. It then goes down into what's it called, Croydon flyover, then out onto Fairfield Halls, right through the town centre, and down through West Croydon. So that's pretty good for points, going through the town centre and then West Croydon. It then takes you over down Reeves Corner, up past Wandle Park, Wadden Marsh, then Valley Park, all the way down to Beddington. It's really long and it's a really fun route. I really like it, and it's not only good as a route, but it's really, really good for points, I've found. But as you can see, I'm going down the back street here, which no other main route in the game goes down. It's actually quite a tricky turn here. Let's see if I can do it. Oh yes, oh look at that driving, yes. Okay. Again, it's quite similar to the 450 when it comes to like skills, especially coming up this road. It's quite tight, quite windy, quite narrow, quite hilly. You've got to have a powerful bus. I mean, 455, pretty much the perfect route for me. And I don't know if this video was boring for you guys, because mainly I was just showing you guys the routes on the menu and just yapping about them. But let me know if you've enjoyed this video, and just let me know if you could actually watch it or not. I don't know if you guys found this boring or not, but we'll see, we'll see. Let me know if you agree on this ranking. I've ranked all 25 routes, and I actually might make a separate video ranking all of the blue star routes, which not a lot of people talk about, but there's like 4 routes that are only available if you purchase the... Let me just get it up. Blue Star Enhancement Pack. So if you drive any of these 5 Blue Star buses, you get a route with them as well. So I might make a different video ranking those. But that was me ranking all 25 main routes of the game. 194 at the worst, 455 at the best. Let me know if you agree with these rankings, and let me know what you would put in place of them. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a couple of weeks, and that's about all. See you guys later.